Hey there, lovely people. Welcome back to another Story Study Saturday. I'm Sammi, and I'm a writer who likes to learn about writing through reading and share what I learn with you. This week, I'm actually really excited because I've been waiting for this book. Not that it hasn't been out. I've just been waiting for the opportunity to get this book because I was researching self-publishing and I stumbled upon Natalia Leigh's YouTube channel. She shared a lot of helpful information about her self-publishing process, and she said that this book was the book that made her the most money of all of the books that she has ever self-published. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It must be a pretty good book then. I was right. It was a really good book. So I will link her YouTube channel in the description box for you to be able to check out. But this week we are talking about Pistol Daisy by Natalia Leigh. So a quick summary of Pistol Daisy is it follows Daisy Allen, who is just a simple country girl in the South back in the olden days. I'm not entirely sure. It gave us the year, but I don't remember. And she just turned 19. Her whole world got flipped upside down because her family was murdered by someone she'd never heard of. And she finds a group of people who are trying to hunt down the same person that killed her family. So she becomes consumed by her grief and her desperation for revenge. And she joins them to go and find her family's killer. This is the first book in the series, and I am now impatiently waiting for the next one. I have no idea when it came out, but I signed up for the email list, so we'll find out at some point. But let's get into my thoughts on this story. Right away, right off the bat, it's extremely immersive. You really just fall into this world because the narration style is set in a way that it's like, I can't believe I don't speak like a cowboy naturally. This flows so natural in my brain reading it. I can't believe that this isn't how I normally talk on a day-to-day basis. And we're introduced to Daisy in a way that makes us really invested in who she is, and we get to have these emotional moments that we become connected to her as a character. And when her family gets murdered, we feel really bad for her. And we're there with her through all of that and dealing with how the townspeople react to her in this situation and how she reacts to the town people reacting to her. And you care the whole time. And tying in with that, the world building feels so genuine that it's not hokey in the way that a lot of old-timey cowboy movies are, where it's like, we're cowboys and we ride horses and all of that kind of stuff, where it's romanticizing an era where this is making it feel normal, even though it's not our normal reading it. And I think that's really beautifully done. The actual words that are on the page and the way that it's written is both very simple, the language choices are very simple, but there are clear decisions being made because it is simultaneously the simple, easily understood language, this in-character voice, but there are clearly choices being made to make it feel more elegant. And there's a clear necessary craft in that to make it both feel artful and like it's in the character's voice, which is amazing. I feel like you hardly ever see those in tandem. I feel like it's the kind of thing that's written in third person that you get the fits in with the story to fits in with the message that the author's trying to get across artistically. It's really well written that we're able to get it firsthand through the character, and it doesn't feel out of place. This book is also written in present tense, which I did think about a lot when I was reading Honey Girl, because I felt like there was something that was missing in Honey Girl when it was written in present tense. I felt like there was a lack of importance to the situation, where if it had been written in past tense, the same situations might have felt less passive because we're being told in the past tense that it had happened, so it's important to us and that triggers our brain. But I cannot imagine this book being written in past tense. It was so tightly connected with Daisy Allen that if it hadn't felt like it was in the moment, I think a lot of things wouldn't have come across the way that they did. And the use of present tense is really, really well done in this book, in the way that I didn't notice it until I was like, hang on, I am doing these things. Cool. Present tense. I had to catch myself catching it because I didn't notice it because it's so right for this story. So what do I think could be improved about this story? Now, I gave it 5 stars, so I really enjoyed it. But there are some things that I think would have made it better. The story feels guarded at times, where like the characters feel like they have depth. They clearly have depth to them. They have more going on. They are 3-dimensional characters, but we're missing something. There's something that's there that we aren't being told. And I wish that we could have gone deeper with some of the characters, especially with Daisy, the main character, because she feels a little two-note sometimes, where she's got like this keen on revenge, full force, like, I am angry, these people are evil, I'm going to make them pay motivation, and that's what's driving her. And then we also have this like, I'm a good sport and I want to be a part of the team and I'm very polite version of Daisy. And I feel like there should be something else. There should be another version of Daisy that's like a middle ground in between those, or somewhere totally separate, an offshoot that's not related to those things. And we just haven't had the opportunity to see that yet. But I know that there's potential for that to show up. It just hasn't yet. And another thing that I think could be improved is that the pacing feels off sometimes. This is a very, very quick read. When I opened it and I got like 2 or 3 pages into my Kindle, I have it set to tell me how many hours are left in the book, or how much time is left in the book. And it said like 3 hours. And I was like, wow, 3 hours worth of book. I'm just gonna fly through this. It's so short. And it was, but it feels like it's not a full story because the pacing, it's set up that this book feels exclusively like a first act. Like the story starts at the end of the book, which is why I am impatiently waiting for the next one. But I had a good time the whole way through. Like it feels very much like a part 1. If you saw Dune and you thought you were getting Dune, the first movie, not the first part of the first movie, that's how I felt when I was reading this book once we got to the end. I was like, you're kidding. We're ending here? Why? Why didn't we start here? Why did we spend so much time on all of these slower moments when we could have been working our way up to this faster so we could have more story? I want more story. I think that's both a good thing and a bad thing because I am desperate for more story, and that shows that this is really well written. But at the same time, I shouldn't feel like we just got the first act. When you write a trilogy, every book should have a 3-act structure within it, and then they should add off of each other. I've actually got a video on that and you can check out. This one very much felt like we just got to the end of Act 1. We've got the inciting incident, we've got some build-up, we've got a couple of challenges, and we've got that, and that's it. We overcame the biggest challenge yet, and then it ends. Because we had so much build-up up to that one thing. It leads to a natural cliffhanger where you are actively interested in the next book because this book didn't finish. But I definitely think your books should finish at least a little bit and give you a teaser for the next book rather than start the next book at the end of the first book. So what can writers learn from this book? For one, self-published books can be really good if the right effort is put in. Don't keep bashing on self-published books. They can be good. People just have to try. This book is also a really great example of doing world building and writing in like a dialect in a tasteful way, because it's written in a dialect. It's not what you would normally think when you think dialect, but it's definitely written in a dialect, and that can come off like hokey or fake or clunky in some situations, especially if it's not done well. And this has been done very, very well in a way that it makes it the world. It makes it feel more genuine because it's written in the dialect. And that's hard to find because it's not often done well. This is also a good example of establishing why your reader should care at the very beginning of the story. It does that immensely well. That, I think, is one of the pillars of a really good story, is getting your readers to care very, very quickly, because if you have to fight for them to care about the character, then they aren't going to care about what happens to the character because they don't care about the character yet. And getting your readers to care what happens to your characters and want to know and want to see the best come for them and that kind of stuff from the very beginning, it's going to make their struggles and tribulations and strife become a lot more satisfying when they overcome it, and lead to your readers having more empathy throughout reading because they care already. And you don't have to convince them to do that. So this gets you right off the bat we care about what this girl is going through. And that is really, really great and super important to have. And it's also a good example of how important editing is if you are going to self-publish. And as a fellow YouTuber, I am going to just pitch out Natalia's business because she runs a editing company that helps people publish either traditionally or self-publish their books. They've got like editors, they've got proofreaders, they've got line editors, they've got somebody who designs book covers. So it's a really interesting resource to check out, and I've got their link down in the description as well. But that is all that I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you have read Pistol Daisy, let me know in the comments, because I feel like it's not like it's slept on because it's a self-published book, but it's so good and more people should read it. If you have any recommendations for self-published books that you think I would enjoy and you want to get the word out for, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to take a look at some of them. If you don't want to miss any of my uploads, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. I am here every Tuesday and Saturday for Writing Tip Tuesdays and Story Study Saturdays, so I will see you guys on Tuesday.